Well, hello everyone. Matt Johnson over here at SFREP. Glad you could join me today as we are going to look at Appraise-It Pro. This webinar is for those of you who are either new to Appraise-It Pro because you are moving over from Appraise-It Classic, or you might be moving over to Appraise-It Pro from another software vendor like ACI, Alamode, or Bradford. Either way, welcome. And a couple of things about these webinars. First of all, I am not a very formal person, so we try to keep these things pretty loose. So with that being said, I think my collar right here is messed up. With that being said, get a snack, get a drink. I've got my sparkling ice right here in my National Association of Appraisers little koozie. And sit back and relax, and we're going to have a little bit of fun, and we're going to look at Appraise-It Pro. Also, I do want you to use the chat to ask any questions that you might have. I love interacting with you guys. So the chat should be over on the right-hand side, or if you put YouTube into theater mode, which you can do by just mousing over the image and then clicking on the little bracket icon, that'll make everything get a lot bigger. Don't go full screen because then you won't see the chat at all. But it'll make things go bigger, and then you'll be able to see things a lot better. And then that'll move the chat down at the bottom. So just keep that in mind. Okay. All right, let's get started. Let's take a look at Appraise-It Pro. For those of you who are new to Appraise-It Pro, if you're coming over from another software vendor, you can get Appraise-It Pro free for 6 months. You'll be on our silver plan for 6 months. And there's no strings attached with that. You can use it as much as you wish. And you don't even have to give us a credit card information. And you will basically have it, no strings attached for the next 6 months. In order to do that, you just go to sfrep.com and click on the orange Get Demo button up at the top, install it, and then on the first run, it's going to ask you to register, and you just select to do a, well, here, I can actually show you how it'll look. What you'll do is, where's the little button? There it is. You'll get this little screen right here on first run, and then you'll select demo, request demo, and then you'll just fill this quick information out, and you are good to go. We can also help you out with actually installing Appraise-It Pro, whether you're coming over from Appraise-It Classic or if you're coming over from another software vendor and you want to get Appraise-It Pro installed for you and kind of shown around. You can do that easily by doing one of two things. You can email training@sfrep.com. We will set up a training session with you. And one of the things they'll do is install Appraise-It Pro for you and make sure it's all working properly. Or you can email our tech support, which is tech@sfrep.com, or you can call them at 800-644-4051. That's 800-644-4051. And before we get started, I also want to give you my direct contact information. A lot of people at other software vendors aren't going to do that for you, but I do. So to get in touch with me directly, my email address is matt@sfrep.com. That's matt@sfrep.com. Or you can call me or text me. I do prefer you text me. That's always the easier way to get in touch with me. My telephone number is area code 828-919-9082. And that will send it directly to my phone and my office line. We have a fancy voice over IP phone system, so it lets us text as well as take phone calls. Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's take a look at Appraise-It Pro. When you first start Appraise-It Pro, from your double clicking the icon on the desktop, you're going to be in an area that Microsoft calls the backstage. You'll kind of understand why they call it the backstage very quickly. You may also be noticing that it looks a lot like Microsoft Office, and that's by design, because we program this program in the same Microsoft development environment that Microsoft uses for things like Microsoft Office. And we took a lot of design cues from Microsoft Office as well. So if you're used to using Microsoft Office, you'll feel right at home in Appraise-It Pro. So this area is called the backstage. I also kind of call it a super file menu because a lot of the stuff that's in here is also in the file menu of your regular programs that you may be familiar with. As a matter of fact, if I use this little arrow icon up here at the top left to go back to the editing area, of course, I don't have a a report open right now, so this is all just blank. But to get back to that area that they call the backstage, I do have to click on the file menu, and then it jumps me back. So real easy there. Now, in this backstage area, there are a couple of selections on the menu over here on the left-hand side. We have Welcome, New, we have Open, Search, Settings. We have a bunch of ones that are ghosted out, mainly because I don't have a report open right now. And then we have New Window and Exit. Now, New Window is something that's new in Appraise-It Pro. It allows you to have as many instances or as many versions or as many windows of Appraise-It Pro open as you wish. So you can have 2 or 3 reports open at the same time and be ultra multitasking, or you can have 2 reports open at the same time, be copying and pasting between them, referencing one, whatever you want to do. You can open as many instances of Appraise-It Pro as you want. Of course, it's going to take up more resources and memory on your computer. Just keep that in mind. But you know, most of us have 16 gigs or more of RAM on our computers these days, so it's not that big of a deal. And then, of course, Exit is very self-explanatory. It's going to do the same thing that the X in the upper right-hand corner does. So let's concentrate on these selections up here in the left, in the top left. So the first one is Welcome. All this is where Appraise-It Pro is going to open every time in the Welcome area. And what this is doing is it's just letting you know that there are you know, in this case, there's an update to Appraise-It Pro version 3.6.8. I don't even know what version I have on here. Let's take a look at that real quick. Okay, good. I have that version. 3.6.8. The big thing in 3.6.8 is it for the UAD 3.6, it adds the paper and digital property data collection forms. The paper forms that you can put on your clipboard that everybody's been jonesing for and asking for. Those are now in here. I'll show you where they are later. We've color-coded the fields in the UAD 3.6, and we've added some static addenda that you can use, and we've added spell check and flood map support for UAD 3.6. But this is where we're going to put news that will go ahead and you know, communicate with you and not have to send out an email or have you make a phone call or something like that. Next is going to be New, and this is where you're going to start your reports from. Whether that be starting it with a default template or with a custom template that you create. Now, for those of you moving over from Appraise-It Classic, a template is essentially the same thing as a skeleton. Under the hood, they're different, but they accomplish the same thing. For those of you moving over from other software, Appraise-It Pro is very template-centric. We encourage you to make templates, and we definitely support it both in UAD 2.6 and UAD 3.6. And the way a template works is if I come down here to UAD 2.6 and I select the 1004, here are all the templates that I have. If I come to the UAD 3.6 for the URAR, you can see I have some templates here as well. So if I come back over here, the way these work is I can single click here and then I can double click one of the templates and it'll open up. Now, creating a template is super easy. Just open up the default template, which would be this one right here, or you can double click here to open up the default template. That's basically a blank report. Fill out, you know, your boilerplate information, put any images in there that you want, whatever you want to do with it. And then you just simply come up here to Home, you select Save As, and you select Save As Template. All a template is in Appraise-It Pro is it is a just a regular report file that you have promoted to template status. Okay, so it's kind of like cloning. You can create this template, store it here, and then that's your starting point every time. And you can update your templates very easily. Now, I recommend doing that instead of cloning because the big problem with cloning is if you open up an old report and you start editing it to create a new report, if you forget to save it to a new file name, you start overwriting your old report, and that's no good. So I definitely encourage everyone to use templates. But here you have all the different report types. I know if you're coming over from, say, a la mode, you have like a little pre-form that you start filling out when you start a report. With us, you just jump right into the actual report itself. So the first thing you do when you're starting a report is you just find the primary form type or report type that you want to start. and then you select it. And they're all categorized here. So I've got the UAD 2.6 reports. Here's the UAD 3.6 reports. We have non-lender reports. We have the condominium forms, and they can show up in multiple different locations. You also have a search up here at the top, so I can search for a 2055. I don't even have to hit enter. I search for 2055, and it's going to show me all the forms that are any type of 2055. And it can show up in multiple places. So here's the non-lender version of the 2055. Here's the old, we call them legacy forms, the old QAR, the old 2055 from 1997 that I think went out of use in 2005. But some people still use them for non-lender work and stuff like that. But you can see where it can actually show up in multiple different places. And then if I want to see everything again, I just click on the X there. That clears out the search there. And now I'm seeing everything again. And if you don't ever do non-lending work, for instance, you can just click on this little triangle here and you can collapse that listing. And then, but you can always go back to it if you need to. All right. And like I said, if you want to just open up the default version of that report, then all you have to do is simply double click here. But if you single click, you can come over here and you can select the template. And then you can either double click the template or just click on create report. There's multiple ways to accomplish something in Appraise-It Pro. You'll also notice there's a little checkbox down here, include suggested forms in the default template. This is checked by default. If you uncheck that checkbox, then it's going to open up a really, really bare bones version of the of whatever form that is. So it's not going to have things like the mapping pages. It's not going to have photo pages. It's not going to have extra comp pages. None of that stuff's going to be included. It's just going to be a bare bones version of the report. This does not apply, however, to any of the 3.6 reports. Let's go to open. The open menu, you probably won't use it too often. You're probably going to use search most of the time. We'll go over search here in a minute. But where you might use the open menu most often is because of recent reports. So if you're looking for a report that you were working on a couple of days ago, instead of going to search, you can just come to open and you'll find it here in the list and you just simply double click it to open it. Now over here on the left, you can do a couple of things. You can open up a report, open up a classic report. That's Appraise-It Classic, our old software that predates Appraise-It Pro. And then you can open up a MISMO document. Opening up a MISMO document is probably the only one you'll ever usually use. And the cool thing about Appraise-It Pro is it's going to take those MISMO XML files and you can associate it with Appraise-It Pro. So Appraise-It Pro, if you are, let's say, coming over from ACI, you can take all of your MISMO XML files that you may have archived, and our tech support can help you with this. They can move those over into a subfolder of Appraise-It Pro, and then Appraise-It Pro will index them. It'll go through, hoover out all the data, and then it will put it into your report database. It'll build a report database and a comp database out of all of that data. And Appraise-It Pro can open up a MISMO XML document just as if it was a regular report file. So that's one way that you can bring over your information from a previous software vendor. Or if somebody, a colleague of yours in the same town or the same county or whatever, if they use ACI or Bradford or something like that, they can send you a copy of their report as a MISMO XML, and then you can actually just open it right up. There's also Open Template and Open Classic Skeleton. Now, the reason you might use Open Classic Skeleton is we do not automatically convert Appraise-It Classic skeletons over to templates. We did, like in the early days of Appraise-It Pro when it was in testing, but the feedback we got was that actually people didn't really want us to do that because it brought over everything. It brought over all these old derelict skeletons that, all the skeletons in your closet. It brought over everything. And they were, especially it could cause problems if they had become corrupted or something like that. Now, templates can't become corrupted in Appraise-It Pro because they are XML. They're not binary like they were in Appraise-It Classic. But, it caused problems when you would bring over one of those things and it had gotten corrupted for some various reason. It could cause, crashes and stuff like that. But what we do allow you to do is we understand that you may have a really complex skeleton that you use all the time that you don't really want to recreate. So you can open up a classic skeleton and bring it over, clean it up, and then save it as a template. What I recommend people do is actually what you're going to want to do is create your templates from scratch because of two reasons. One, you're going to have a list of a lot of really good, clean, new templates. And by creating a template, you are going to very quickly learn your way around Appraise-It Pro. So that's why I always recommend to do your actual templates, do them from scratch when you get over to Appraise-It Pro. But for those really complex skeletons, we do allow you to convert them over. Okay. Okay. We're going to go to search now. This is an exclusionary search, just like it is in Appraise-It Classic. Let me clear this. So the way this works is the more information you fill out here, and it can be partial information, but the more information you fill out in this form here, the more targeted your search results are going to be, the fewer results you're going to get. So if I came in here and I just gave it 28226, well, that's I'm in Charlotte, so that's a huge zip code. And there are tons and tons of houses in here. So chances are, if I've been doing this for a while in Charlotte, I'm going to have a ton of results by just searching the zip code. However, I can combine that with, say, if I'm looking for a specific address, I can put in a partial street name. So I can do PA. There we go. There's Painted Tree Road. That's what I'm actually looking for. So now if I use that and I do a search, I only come up with one result. If I single click on that result, I will see the front view photo. That's not actually the front view photo of this particular house. This is the house I grew up in. But this is a front view photo that I have. I can see some key information about this particular record or this particular address. I can also scroll out here to the right and I can see all the different information that is contained in the database about that particular address. And if this is the address I'm actually looking for, I can click on Open Report, or I can double click here to open it up. I can also clear my search results and start from scratch. And if I just do a search with nothing, I'm going to get everything. And I don't do appraisals on this computer, so I've only got like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 6 reports here. But if you did that, you would get, thousands of results, and they'll be paged out. But that's how that works. So we'll click clear here, say yes, and then we start from scratch. You can also do a search, and then you can take these results and export them, send them to a client, or not to a client, to a colleague, and then they can import them into their database. So you can actually share comps that way. Or you can share report data and stuff like that. You can do the same thing with our Comp Manager database program. And then finally, we have settings. Oh, by the way, with the search here, there are some trash can icons here. If you're only, let's say you're only licensed in the state of North Carolina, then, I've gotten rid of the state field here because I'm only going to be searching for reports that are in North Carolina. So there's no reason for that to be here. So I can just click on the trash can icon and I can say yes to get rid of it. Now, if I decide that I want to add it back in later on, I can use this little add field, come down here, find state. But now it's kind of orphaned down here in the bottom. I can use these little arrows to move it up here in the list. So that it is before zip code. So there we go. There's where I want it. You can also do a cool thing here. If you just briefly need to search by something else, you can just choose one of these, let's say order number. I can pull it down and select, I want to do owner name this time. And then I can just search by owner name. And then when I'm done, I can come back here and I can change that back to being order number. Remember, if you have any questions, please use that chat or send an email to me. My contact information, matt@sfrep.com, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you guys might have. If you're logged into YouTube, you'll be able to just ask a question in the chat. But if you're shy or you're not logged into YouTube, or if you're watching this webinar at a later time, because these do get saved automatically to our YouTube page, youtube.com/sfrep, and you click on live, you can see all of our back webinars. You can ask a question by emailing me as well. Okay. All right. Finally, settings. For most of you, you're not going to come in here. But for some of you who like to tinker and you like to customize things, you can come in here and do that to your heart's content. I do recommend that you write it down on a Post-it note or something so that if it does create some type of, behavior that you don't like, you'll know where to go back and change it. For most of you, I would say probably don't want to come in here unless you have one of our tech support people on the line with you, but it is here for those of you who like to tinker. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at editing a report. And I am going to show you how to edit a UAD 2.6 report, a current UAD report. The reason for that is, one, I have a webinar where we go over just UAD 3.6 stuff. But the other reason I'm going to do that is because editing a UAD 3.6 report and a UAD 2.6 report are so similar in Appraise-It Pro that once you know how to do a UAD 2.6 report, a current UAD report, you know how to do a 3.6 report. I will glance over it at the end of this and kind of show it to you, but I'm gonna teach you how to use Appraise-It Pro using the UAD 2.6, okay? So I want to just open up a blank default report. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply double click right here on the 1004. Get a drink here real quick while that opens. Okay. And here we are. So this is the layout. If you are moving over from Appraise-It Classic or if you're moving over from another software vendor, this is going to look pretty darn familiar to you. All software out there is what's called WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. So you're editing a digital representation of the printed form. And that's how it works in Appraise-It Pro for both UAD 2.6 and UAD 3.6. So filling out a form is filling out a form no matter what software you're using. This is all going to be pretty bog standard. On the left and the right-hand side, we do have these panels. We have 4 panels that are visible: report, validator, responses, and format. Now, you can probably figure out what most of these do. The format panel, just real quickly, I'm going to tell you, when you're not in a formatted field, it's just showing you a color key. If you go into a formatted field, then it becomes like the UAD helper in Appraise-It Classic, okay? Or the little pop-ups or pull-downs that you get in other software, just to help you fill out UAD 2.6 crazy formatting that I hate, and I'm so glad is going away. But we're going to start over here on the left-hand side, upper left-hand corner, the report. You can think of the report panel as being the table of contents of the report. Now, for those of you who are moving over from Appraise-It Classic, I want to talk to you guys specifically for just a second. This is the part of the webinar that you need to pay attention to the most. Okay, if you tune out everything else, I need you to pay attention to this part of the webinar, because this is the important part that we're going to be going over. This is the biggest difference between Appraise-It Classic and Appraise-It Pro. In Appraise-It Classic, you would build the report at print time when you were done with the report, and you would choose which addenda you needed from the contents menu. In Appraise-It Classic, you build the report at the beginning and as you go along. Okay, so this is your table of contents, and this is what is in this particular report. You need to keep this area tidy. And what I mean by that is, if, let's say, this particular report's not going to have a flood map in it, you need to get rid of that. So I'm going to say remove. I'm going to click on yes, and now the flood map is out of there. Now, why do we need to do that? Because when you come back to this report 3 weeks from now, you want to be able to know exactly what was in this report when you send it to the lender, and in what order it was in. So only keep things in here that you're actually filling out. So if you end up not using something, get rid of it. That way, at a glance, you open this report up somewhere down the road, a month from now, you'll know exactly what you had in this report. You can also order your pages in any order that you want. And once again, you'll want to do that now so that when you come back a month later, you'll be able to know the exact order that everything was in. So if you like to put your location map at the very beginning of the report, you can click and hold and drag it up to the very top. Or you can put it back where it was. Put it after the sketch. If you need to add back in your flood map, you can come to add. And right now it has addenda selected. I'm just going to do a search for FLOOD for flood. There's my flood map. And I can either double click to add it to the bottom, or I can simply click, hold, and drag it over here and put it right after the location map. And then I click save and close to put it back over here. So when I'm in the add remove forms dialog here, this is a representation of this, but this is like your working space. So I can add a bunch of stuff in here, whatever I want to add in here. I can go ahead and just add stuff in here randomly and put it where I want it, move things around, but it's not going to actually do anything until I hit save and close. So I'm going to hit cancel there because I did a bunch of junk there. So we'll say, no, I don't want to save that. And nothing happened. Now you may notice that there are some icons here on the left-hand side of some of these addenda and minor forms. First of all, the star means that is the star of the show. That is the primary report type for this report. You can actually change a report type by just putting a new form in there. So you don't have to like save the report, then close it, then open up the target new form type. So let's say we were going from a 1004 to a condo form. You don't have to, you don't have to save this, then open up a 1073 blank and then import the report. I mean, you can do that if you want, but that's a inefficient way to do it, let's say. So if I want to change this into a condo form, even if I've done most of the report, I can come in here and instead of addenda, I am going to search for primary. I'm going to find under frequently used, or I can go over here under U82.6, find the condominium, the 1073, and I am going to click and drag it over here. And I'm going to get this message. Adding this form will replace your report's primary form and its dependent forms. Do you want to proceed? Yes, I do. Then I'm going to click on save and close. And now magically this is turned into a condo report. And all of the data that was in the 1004 in the regular URAR will get converted over and brought over into the condominium report. So changing report types is super simple in Appraise-It Pro now. The padlock icon, that what that means is that is a addendum or a minor report or whatever. It's a piece of the report that has to be in here. You can't remove it because it's needed for the proper operation of the report, for the report to be able to do stuff and move things around. So it's going to have a lock icon and those have to stay. Now you don't have to deliver them when you create your Mismo XML, you don't check those checkboxes so they won't be created. So you don't have to send your extended comments. You don't have to send your report profile, etc. You just uncheck those and I'll show you how that works later. And then you'll see these little pluses. The pluses, you might notice, is the same as add. That may give you a clue as to what it does. If I click on a plus for comps 4 through 6, it's going to add comps 7 through 9, and it's going to add comps, sales comps photos 7 through 9 as well. If I click it again, it's going to add comps 10 through 12. If I click it again, it's going to add 13 through 15. Now, for those of you who are coming over from other software, we do not have side-by-side comps in U82.6 reports. We do with 3.6, but we don't for U82.6 yet. Within a month or two, we will. We're backporting it to the old U82.6. But for right now, if you want to look at comps 10 through 12, you just double-click it, and then it opens up a tab up here at the top, and you can see that comp page, and then you can close it. And that's how these tabs work, by the way. If I open up something, it's going to open up in a tab like a web browser. I can even pull these tabs out if I want, put them on a different monitor. And then if I want to put them back, I just click on the tab and pop it back in, just like a web browser. And then the final thing I want to show you here in the report panel is that you can rename a lot of these different addenda. So let's say general photos. Now, right now, the rename function is kind of grayed out because I don't have a addendum that I can rename selected. But if I come down here to the general photos, now you'll see that the rename is now not ghosted out. That means that I can rename this. So this right here is general photos, 3 per page, legal sized paper. And here's general photos, 6 per page, legal sized paper. So that's what this looks like. So let's say I have a really cool garage. Maybe it has a lift in it or a big workshop or something. I need to take a lot of photos of that. I can put them on this general photos, 6 per page legal. And what I can do is I can rename this. So I can call this garage photos, and then I'm going to call it 6/legal so that I know that that's the type of page it is. Click OK. And now, at a glance, if if I come back here a month from now, at a glance, I don't have to open this up to know which photos these are. I know that they're the garage photos. All right. And you can see also I can change the size of these panels too. I can actually pop these panels out too. So I can click and drag them out, put them on a different monitor, and then I can pop them back in as well, like that. Now, invariably, if you start doing this and playing around with this, you're going to do something like this. And you're going to be like, uh-oh, what did I just do? And you're going to be like, I got to call tech support. This is a whole thing. No. All you got to do is come up here to the view menu, reset the default, say yes. It puts everything back to factory settings. So don't worry. All right, let's do validator. Two types of validation are happening at any given time. One type of validation is happening at any given time, and that's the comprehensive validation. Excuse me. Not the comprehensive validation. The real-time validation is happening at all times. There's also comprehensive validation. Now, real-time validation is checking things like your UAD formatting, your math, things like that, spelling in the UAD 3.6 reports. So the easiest way for me to show you how this works, if I type in NC and tab out of that field, it's happy, doesn't do anything. But if I put in there BC and tab out, it's going to turn red. Because BC is a Canadian province, British Columbia. It is not a U.S. state, so it turns it red. So I can come back in here. Now, I could even be somewhere else in the report. I could be way down here, and I may notice that there's a hard stop for state. If I single click on there, it'll tell me state must be a valid 2-digit abbreviation, example NC. I'm like, oh, I must have done something wrong. So if I double click on it, it'll jump me to where the problem is, and I can go, oh, bonehead, called it BC, I meant NC, fat fingers. Tab out, I've corrected it, and now that goes away. Now, the second type of validation is the comprehensive validation, and you won't invoke that. You should not invoke that until the end of the report. It will do it for you automatically when you try to export MISMO XML or print the report or something like that. But you can always invoke it manually by clicking on the validate button here. However, I do not recommend doing that until you are done with the report, because if you click validate, like for instance right now, everything's going to turn red. It's going to freak out because I haven't put anything in this report, and it just becomes a big mess. And finally, there's two different rule sets for UAD 2.6. There's the UCDP rule set, which is your regular UAD 2.6 rule set. And then there's also the FHA rule set. Now, they're almost identical. There's only a couple of small little differences, but it will remember your selection from one session to another, from one report to another. So always make sure that one of the first things you should do when you're starting a new report, make sure that you have the correct rule set selected here. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. Make sure that you select the correct rule set before you click on validate. But yeah, not the end of the world if you forget, but just put it on your list of things that you do, your checklist when you first start a report. All right, responses. We in Appraise-It Classic call these common responses. In Appraise-It Pro, they are called, and I just want to check my email, make sure, no, nobody's asked any questions in email. Good. We call them common responses in old Appraise-It Classic. We call them just responses here in Appraise-It Pro. You may have called them quick comments or quick responses in your old software. It's all the same concept. The easiest way for me to show you how this works is in the city field. When I click into the city field, you'll notice I have a bunch that I've already set up here before. And for those of you coming over from Appraise-It Classic, we do allow you to assign them to an F key still. We don't have the F key bar up at the top, but we do let you assign them to an F key. Now, for those of you moving over from other software, you're probably like, what are you talking about? We do allow you, Appraise-It Classic and Appraise-It Pro have always been very keyboard centric. You can use a mouse, but we like to let you have the ability to stay on the keyboard, and you can burn through reports faster that way. So one of the ways you can do that is by using your F keys. So I have assigned Charlotte to F4. So if I just hit F4 on my keyboard, it is going to put Charlotte in there for me. But there's a couple of other different ways that I can use these responses. I can pick up my mouse, double click on Charlotte, it'll put it in there. I can hit F2 on the keyboard, and I can come down the list and select Charlotte. Or, and this is my favorite way, I can just start typing CH. It now knows that I mean Charlotte, and I just tab out. You can do this for both single word fields like the city, but you can also do them for these multi-line fields down here as well. You could put an entire paragraph as a response down here, like I've done here, and you can fill in the entire thing. I assigned Redwood Rookery to F3, so I can hit F3. It'll put the whole thing in there. Or I can just start typing SU. Well, it doesn't autocomplete these multi-lines, but I can hit F2, select Redwood Rookery, select it, and boom, I've just dumped a whole paragraph or two into the field here. So a response can be as long as you want it to be. It could be 2 pages long. You select it, and it's going to automatically jump over to extended comments, put all that stuff into your extended comments for you. It'll do everything for you. So very powerful, these responses. They come with great responsibility. So make sure you fill these out correctly. The way it works, let's see, I'm going to put a new city in here. I'm running out of them. I'm going to use Belmont, but I'm going to delete Belmont first so I can reuse it. So we'll delete that. All right, so I'm going to type in Belmont here, suburb of Charlotte. So I've selected Belmont. Now I'm going to click on Manage Responses. Now I can give it a title, but you don't really have to give it a title if it's like a 1 or 2 word response. You will want to give it a title though if it's like 3 paragraphs, okay? So, but I'm not going to do the title here. And I can select if I want to assign it to an F key or not. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to click on Save, click on Close, and now Belmont is in the list. And so now I can use it. F2, come down here at the bottom. There's Belmont. There we go. Real simple. Now, hidden behind the responses panel is a help panel. And the reason it's hidden is because most of you are probably not going to need it or use it. Okay? We've all been doing this for a very long time. We know all what goes into all these fields. But if you have a trainee or if you're new or something like that, the help can be very helpful for you. And see what I did there? So you can click on the help tab here, and every single field has help associated with it. And within the next month, every field in the UAD 3.6 is going to also have this help text associated with it, which is going to be very helpful when you're doing your first few UAD 3.6 reports. So that is there. So if you have any trainees, let them know that that exists. Finally, the format panel. I kind of already showed you the format panel, how it works before. But let's go down here into the grid. If I go into any of these green fields, so green is a formatted or required field. So I go in here and here we go. There's my little format panel. Now, we chose to keep the panel, keep it as a panel over on the right-hand side and out of your way. Some software will have a little pop-up that'll come up or a little pull down or something like that. We didn't want to get in your way. And we let you type directly into these fields. So if you already know the formatting by heart, you can just type it into the field and move on with your life. But if you need help in formatting it, you can come over to the format panel. So this is the view section. So the overall view is going to be beneficial. And the view type is going to be, let's say, a park view. And then I'm going to hit apply, and it puts the proper formatting in there for me. Pretty cool. So I can do that in any of these green fields. Easy peasy. You know, that's how the format panel works. There's some other things you can do, like it'll hit F12 if you want to deselect or go, or if you want to stay on the keyboard and jump over to that panel. So all you have to do is hit F12, and it'll put you over here, and then you can actually use that to select a different thing from the list there. Real simple. All right. Now, when you are ready to deliver your report, you're going to come over here to Orders, and you're going to select Create Mismo XML. And this is what I meant by you can deselect things and not include them in the report. So I can choose to include the report profile, but most of the time you're going to not want to keep that, so you'll uncheck it. Now, you can move things around using these arrows here, but I do not recommend doing that for one big reason. Any changes that you make in the order here do not translate back over here to the report panel. So I recommend go back over here, get your stuff straight here, get your story straight, and then come back in here and don't monkey around with it here, because you always want this to be representative of what you sent to the lender or the AMC or whoever the client is. Okay. But you have some other options here. You can choose where you're going to save it to. I always save my stuff to the desktop. You can choose which version you're going to save it as. That you're probably never going to change this. And then you can you can select the behavior of the PDF as well. So you can open up the PDF after saving, or you can choose not to. You can also combine your, I wouldn't mess with any of these options unless you get with one of our tech support people. But yeah, this is all this stuff right here. And then you just click on save and it's going to generate a Mismo XML for you. It'll generate the XML file and the PDF file. And of course, the PDF is embedded inside the XML as well. You can also do your envelope uploader for your ENV files. It's Appraise-It Pro, but it's also used to create just ENV files that you may upload somewhere. This is going away. This is not going to be for 3.6, so this is not long for this world. We also have Total Connect. For those of you who are coming over from WinTotal, we do integrate directly with the Total Connect network. And then you can come over to home and you can save a PDF, or you can print it to paper if you want to be old school. You can also sign your report here. So you can set up your actual signature and then sign your report. I don't know if I have a signature set up on this computer. I think I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah, so there you go. If you need to set up your signature, get with our tech support. They can show you how to do it. It's real simple. Now, for those of you moving over from Appraise-It Classic, signing a report in Appraise-It Pro does not lock the report. It does not keep anyone from making changes to the report. There is no security associated with signing the report in Appraise-It Pro. The reason we did that is because it was more security theater in Appraise-It Classic anyway. It didn't actually prevent much. Like, you could still go in and edit it if you knew what you were doing. So what we did is we implemented true security in Appraise-It Pro. So there's a separate section here for secure your report. And what you can do here is you can choose to require a password to edit the report, choose to require a password to open the report, or you can do both. And when you do that password, what it'll do is it'll use that as a cipher to 256-bit encrypt the reports, military-grade encryption, 256-bit encryption that you would need a supercomputer or a quantum computer to break, okay? And you can then email your you can also do this with your PDF. But if you wanted to send a report to somebody, you're just going to email it, you could just go ahead and require a password to edit it. Just if you do that and you attach it, call them and give them the password or text it to them. Don't send the password with the email for obvious reasons. That just defeats everything. Okay. One last thing I'm going to show you here, and then we're going to take questions. So if you got any questions, please get them into the chat now. Finally, we have the all services little area down here. This is kind of like a little light, like a little stoplight. Right now it's green. That means all of our web-based services, all of our internet-based services are online and functioning properly. This little light, quote unquote light, it can either be green, yellow, or red. So green, everything's fine. Yellow, degraded service. So maybe things are slow or a little intermittent. And then red means that something's down. So if this turns red, you can click on here and it'll tell you what is down. And then if you click on that, it will open up a web page, which is status.sfrep.com. And it will give you information as to what is down and what we think the estimated time of resolution is, the ETR. Okay. All right, I think that's just about everything that I want to show you. So if anybody has any questions, go ahead and get them now. Also, remember that you can email me your questions. Whoops, sorry. This is it. You can email your questions directly to me, matt@sfrep.com, or you can text 828-919-9082. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have, especially if you're watching this webinar after the fact, later on down the road. Obviously, you can't participate in the live chat, so you can just send me an email or a text. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. You can try calling me too. I tend to be pretty busy, so I don't answer phone calls necessarily. You'll have to leave a voicemail. Just cut to the chase. Text me. Always the best way to get in touch with me. I even answer my texts after hours and on weekends. So always a good way to get in touch with somebody at the company if need be. All right. So I don't have any questions from you guys. So either you guys are just quiet or you are a little bit shy, or I've answered all your questions. Hopefully it's the latter. But remember, email me or text me if you have any questions. You can also email training@sfrep.com. Now what this will do is we can set you up with a 1 hour one-on-one training session. They're completely free if you're either on a demo or if you're one of our customers, and we will show you how Appraise-It Pro works. We can show you how the UAD 3.6 works, etc. The one other thing I do want to show you is going to be the new printable forms. We just released it yesterday, so a lot of you probably haven't seen it, so I'm going to show them to you real quick. So let's look at that. Let me come back over here. We're going to close out of this UAD 2.6 report. Now, if you haven't looked at the UAD 3.6, where is it? UAD completion. It's the URAR. It's this one right here. So this is the URAR. It is one report to rule them all. This is what it looks like. It's a lot of check boxes. It's a lot of pull downs, all that kind of nice stuff. And it is a dynamic report. So if I come to the sales contract section, I start checking check boxes. You see how things just kind of fill in here. Now, what everyone is freaking out about is that there's so much for you to be keeping track of when you're out in the field. I'm just going to get a drink here real quick. So there's a lot to keep track of while you're out in the field. I, of course, am going to be like everybody else. I'm going to recommend that you use a mobile app. But if you don't want to use a mobile app, we do give you the option of using both printed printouts that you can take notes on. We have a checklist, so you can just use a little checklist and know what you're needing to gather, the information you're needing to gather into the field. I'll get you here in just a second, Kenneth. And then we also have a inspection or a field inspection form that you can use if you just want to take your laptop into the field with you and set up shop on the countertop in the kitchen and start filling things out right there. So let me show you those to you real quick. Okay. So we're going to come back over here to File. We're going to be under New. And the first one we're going to look at is the Digital Property Data Collection Report. This is if you want to take your laptop into the field. And what it basically is it is a stripped down version of the dynamic report that only the parts that you would fill out in the field are going to be in here. Okay. So if you got a Microsoft Surface tablet, something like that, this is, places you can go and you can actually just kind of scroll through it if you got a tablet with your finger and check your check boxes and fill out your little sections here and your pull downs and all that kind of stuff. So that's the digital version of the inspection. So it's kind of like having a little mobile app, but that's inside of Appraise-It Pro running in Windows. The next one's going to be the Paper Property Data Collection Worksheet. So if I open up that one, here's what this is. Now, this is something that you'll notice that there aren't, this is all static. So there aren't actually, things that you can fill out here. What it is it's meant to be printed to PDF, printed to paper. So you'd print it. Gotcha. Okay, good. Woo. I was a little worried there that it was going to actually just start printing. I didn't think it would, but I didn't want to do that. Here's the deal on this, though. You can print it out for the different scenarios. However, it's 15 pages front and back. So it's really actually 30 pages. So while you can do it, you may not actually want to do this, but you can do it if they're going to pry that clipboard from your cold dead hands. This is an option that you can have. There is also just the checklist, which let me close out of here. I forget where the checklist is because I'm not seeing it. They may have taken it out temporarily, but we are going to have I am not on the full version, the final version of Appraise-It Pro 3.6.8. I think I'm on one of the test versions. So I think it may have already been added in, but there's going to be a checklist. The checklist is a single page front and back or 2 pages. But if you have a printer like I have that can duplex, that can do front and back printing, you just print it out. And what we envision you doing with it is laminating it and putting it on your keyboard or on your clipboard rather. And that way you will have a checklist that you can, use one of those dry erase markers or something with, and just check whenever you make sure you get everything done. or you can print it out each time when you go out in the field too. But it's just going to be a way for you to make sure that you're collecting all the information that you need to collect in the field. But you can laminate it, or you can just print it out each time and actually use a little pen and check it off. All right. Kenneth says, have your program on my computer in a test form, but it expires today. Any way I can extend that? Maybe. What you'll want to do is contact our sales office. You can contact them by email, sales@sfrep.com, or you can call 800-644-4051. Take that up with them. That's their discretion, but yeah, probably. But talk to them. If it's something like, hey, I had a 6-month demo and I've been busy and I haven't been able to do it. They maybe can extend it by a month or two for you. So go ahead and talk to them. They may be able to do that. I don't have any other questions. So I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your week. If you are in South Carolina, I'm going to be at the SCPAC meeting in Charleston. I leave tomorrow. I'm driving down there from Charlotte. So it's at the Hilton Garden Inn it's right there by that Cooper Bridge. Anyway, you can go to the SCPAC website and we're going to be, I'm going to be there demoing Appraise-It Pro. I'm also going to be, this is March, April. I'm going to be at AXE in Seattle. That is going to be a great time. And then I'm going to be at the Texas Association of Appraisers, the Association of Texas Appraisers, the ATA conference in Austin in August. And then we'll be at the Vegas shows. So come out and see us. Looking forward to meeting everybody and talking with you guys. Hope all of you have a great rest of your week and take care, and we'll see you next time.